In the vast tapestry of Norse mythology, few creatures command as much awe and terror as Jörmungandr, the World Serpent. Known in Old Norse as Jörmungandr, meaning great beast, this colossal serpent grew so enormous that its body encircled the entire world of Midgard, creating a perfect circle by grasping its own tail in its mouth, an ancient symbol known as the Ouroboros, representing infinity and the cyclical nature of existence. Jörmungandr's story begins with his infamous father, Loki, the trickster god, and the giantess Angrboda. Together, they produced three children who would become central figures in Norse mythology's apocalyptic prophecies: Fenrir, the great wolf; Hel, the ruler of the underworld; and Jörmungandr, the world serpent. The gods, particularly Odin the All-Father, recognized the potential threat these children posed to the cosmic order and took decisive action against each of them. While Hel was banished to the frozen realm of Niflheim to rule over the dead, and Fenrir was bound through trickery and the sacrifice of Tyr's hand, Jörmungandr's fate was perhaps the most dramatic. Odin, in his wisdom, or perhaps his fear, cast the serpent into the great ocean surrounding Midgard, the realm of humans. However, this attempt to neutralize the threat backfired spectacularly. Rather than perishing in the depths, Jörmungandr not only survived but thrived, growing to such immense proportions that he eventually encircled the entire world, becoming known as the Midgard Serpent. One of the most fascinating tales involving Jörmungandr occurs during Thor's visit to the castle of Utgarda Loki, a giant known for his powerful illusions. This story brilliantly illustrates both the serpent's immense power and the clever way Norse myths often intertwine deception with truth. When Thor, accompanied by Loki and Thor's servants, Thjalfi and Röskva, arrived at the giant's castle, they were subjected to a series of seemingly simple challenges that were actually impossible feats in disguise. The most remarkable of these involved what appeared to be a mere house cat. Thor, known throughout the Nine Worlds for his incredible strength, was challenged to lift this cat, a task that would seem trivial for the god of thunder. Despite straining with all his mighty power, Thor could only manage to lift one of the cat's paws slightly off the ground. What Thor didn't know, and what makes this tale so clever, was that the cat was actually Jörmungandr in disguise, magically transformed by Utgarda Loki's sorcery. The fact that Thor managed to lift even a small part of the World Serpent was itself an incredible feat, one that actually caused Jörmungandr to briefly loosen his grip around Midgard. Perhaps the most famous confrontation between Thor and Jörmungandr occurred during what seemed to be a simple fishing trip. Thor, accompanied by the giant Hymir, ventured out to sea in a small boat. While Hymir was content to catch whales, Thor had a much greater quarry in mind. He baited his hook with the head of Hymir's largest ox and cast his line into the depths, seeking to draw out his ancient enemy. The details of this encounter reveal the true scale of Jörmungandr's power. When the serpent took the bait, the force of his movement caused tsunamis that threatened to capsize the boat. As Thor pulled with all his godly might, the ocean itself began to drain, and Jörmungandr's massive head broke the surface. The two enemies locked eyes in a moment of profound hatred, Thor reaching for his hammer Mjolnir, while Jörmungandr's venom dripped into the churning seas. However, this battle was not destined to be their final confrontation. Hymir, overcome with terror at the sight of the World Serpent and fearing the consequences of such a premature battle, cut Thor's fishing line. Jörmungandr slipped back into the depths, and Thor, in his rage, struck Hymir so hard that the giant fell overboard and drowned in the very waters that housed his fear. According to Norse prophecy, Jörmungandr's ultimate role would come during Ragnarök, the twilight of the gods. During this apocalyptic event, the World Serpent would finally release its tail and emerge from the ocean, spewing so much venom that it would poison the sky and the sea. This act would contribute to the death of the world tree Yggdrasil and the destruction of the Nine Worlds. The prophecy foretold that Thor and Jörmungandr would meet in one final, cataclysmic battle. Thor would indeed succeed in slaying the mighty serpent with his hammer Mjolnir, but victory would come at a terrible price. The serpent's venom would prove fatal even to the mighty thunder god, who would walk 9 steps before succumbing to the poison, marking one of the many tragic deaths that would characterize Ragnarök. Jörmungandr's significance extends far beyond its role as a fearsome adversary. As a symbol, the world serpent represents several complex concepts in Norse mythology and wider Germanic culture. The serpent's endless circle around Midgard symbolizes the boundaries between order and chaos, between the realm of gods and men and the wild forces beyond. Its role in Thor's challenges represents the limits of even divine power and the hubris of those who would test those limits. The inevitable confrontation at Ragnarök speaks to Norse beliefs about fate and the cyclical nature of existence. The mutual destruction of Thor and Jörmungandr illustrates the Norse concept that even the gods are not immortal and that every power must eventually meet its match. Today, Jörmungandr continues to capture imaginations through its appearances in modern media, from video games to literature. The image of the world-encircling serpent remains a powerful symbol of both destruction and continuity, chaos and order, and the delicate balance between opposing forces that maintains our world. In Norse mythology, Jörmungandr stands as one of the most awe-inspiring examples of how these ancient tales could capture complex cosmic principles in the form of unforgettable monsters. The World Serpent story reminds us that in the Norse worldview, even the most terrifying forces of chaos played a necessary role in the universe's grand design, and that fate bound all beings, gods, monsters, and humans alike, in an inescapable cycle of creation and destruction.